field. Creates the fumble. Off goes crashing into the end zone.
It is intercepted by Jalen Ramsey.
Robert Wood, touchdown, LA!
Picked off by John Johnson.
Caught, touchdown, Tyler Higbee. It's Michael Brockers who gets there. A'Shawn Robinson. Cooper Kupp plucks it out of the air.
Taylor Rapp, who had one taken away, will take this into the end zone.
Henderson with a good run and a first down, still on his feet.
Safety in the arms of Leonard Floyd.
Up top, touchdown, Van Jefferson.
Terrell Lewis.
Everett in stride. Wow!
Hit behind the line, Terrell Burgess, 26.
At the goal line and in for his second touchdown. Malcolm Brown into the end zone.
Abu Khan with the strip sack.
Picked off by Troy Hill.
Akers with a stiff arm. Akers into the end zone. Cam Akers.
LA will play for the Lombardi.
All right, guys, welcome back to the Downtown Rams podcast. We have a very special guest. We have none other than Hall of Fame quarterback, former Rams Super Bowl winning quarterback, Kurt Warner. How's it going, man? Thanks so much for coming on.
Oh, it's a pleasure to be on, and as crazy as the world is around us, things are going fairly well, all things considered. That a lot of downtime here, a lot of time with my family as I'm kind of waiting this thing out and see what transpires with this coming fall and the football season. But overall, we're healthy and we're blessed, and again, just trying to do our part.
Yeah, well, we're certainly glad to hear that everything's going well for you. And again, we're super excited to talk to you. And just to start this off, we just want to kind of hear a little bit about how you initially got into the game of football.
Well, I mean, I've been playing football my entire life, from very early age. And it wasn't just football. I was involved with any and every sport. It was just something that I gravitated to. And I think the blessing when you don't grow up with a lot, it's very easy to get a hold of a ball and to create games or be competitive. And that's basically what my childhood was, is that I played anything that had a ball, any sport. I loved to compete. And so, it started at a very young age that I played and I was good at it. And so, it was really the dream to play professional sports, not necessarily football, but professional sports started very, very early. And then as things transpired, it just became more and more obvious that my best opportunity to play would be to play professional football. And at some point along the way, you make that decision to break off from some of the other sports and choose one. But as long as I can remember, sports and football has been a part of my life and something that I've loved to do. And so one of those fortunate individuals that get a chance to play out their dream and get a chance to do what they love to do for a living.
Yeah, I mean, very well said. Starting off, with your career, you started at University of Northern Iowa. You ended up winning the Conference Offensive Player Award your senior year there. Then you end up in camp battling for a spot with, guys like Brett Favre and Mark Brunell, with the Packers, before ultimately landing, in the AFL and becoming an eventual AFL Hall of Famer with the Iowa Barnstormers. What was the experience like to go from college, get your feet wet a little bit in the NFL, and then play in the Arena League?
At the end of the day, football is football. And, I'm very fortunate, when I look at the landscape of where football is now. If I were to push myself forward about 20 years and go, okay, what if I was on the same journey in the world that we live in now, or the sports world that we live in now? And, I kind of shake my head because there's really not many opportunities to play football outside of the NFL. I know there've been some other leagues that have kind of tried to start up, and there was NFL Europe for a while, but I just sit back and go, man, I'm so grateful that, when I was taking the journey, that there were some other options to play football. And one of them was arena football, which was so much fun. And it really brought me back to my roots. I think it's very easy when you're kind of chasing after this dream and things aren't working, to get so fixated on the dream and the ultimate goal that sometimes you lose sight of why you played the game to begin with. Why'd you play in the first place? And, arena football, didn't have the best surroundings, and it was a bunch of guys that just loved to play the game, and you didn't make a lot of money. And so it really brought me back to my roots of, man, I love just competing and playing this game. I love the X's and O's, and I love going out there and just throwing a football. And it was what I was meant to do. And so I was very fortunate to have that time. Not only did it kind of bring me back mentally to where I wanted to be, but I think it also helped me physically. The speed of the game in arena football was unlike anything that I've ever played in. As great as the players are in the NFL, when you expand them to the big field, the game doesn't happen quite as fast. And so the speed of the game and the accuracy it took on a smaller field were things that, without a question, made me a better quarterback and would really become the things that separated me at the NFL level. So, it was a crazy ride and it was a different journey. But it's easy to look back now and be thankful for all the different steps of preparation that helped me. So when I did get my chance with the Rams, a couple of years later, that I was truly prepared both mentally and physically to handle what would be in front of me and to be able to have success.
Yeah, totally. It definitely sounds like, the time that you spent in the AFL really did help prepare you for the NFL. And like you said, it's invaluable experience that, certainly you have to be grateful for. But you did end up signing a futures contract with the Rams. And then you were sent to NFL Europe to play in their league, to play for the Amsterdam Admirals, where you arguably became the best player in the league. But just what was that experience like, going from the U.S. to Europe to play football?
It was one of those things that, I knew I was going to have to go because, again, there was only so many places to play. But, going from arena football, you knew it was going to be hard to make that transition straight to the NFL from the small field and what that was to the NFL. And so I knew Europe was probably be a part of my journey if I was going to get that opportunity to play again in the National Football League. And so, it was different. It was at an odd time. My wife and I had just gotten married, and my wife was pregnant with our first child together, and, a lot of things going on, but I knew this was really my last chance. So I had to leave for 3 months and go to Europe and do that. But, really it was a stepping stone. It was something that I knew I needed to do. And, I was there solely for the purpose of playing football and trying to get back home to my family and trying to be ready to make the team with the Rams. So again, it was different, but, sometimes, you got to step into different things that, are part of the journey, even if you don't necessarily want to do them or the timing's not right. And that's what NFL Europe was for me. Just another stepping stone and another opportunity to prove that I deserved a shot at the NFL level. And, it was very successful for me, even though it was tough to be away from family. It was successful for me, and I had some people that watched me over there that really got in my corner when I came back to the Rams that, I think had a big part in helping me make that team the first year.
Yeah, it's just an incredible journey that I think you kind of alluded to. You really can't replicate what you were able to do in the modern day. There's not enough opportunities out there. I want to ask you a question, but real quick, I also want to ask you another question that just kind of came to mind. Do you think an NFL Europe could work today?
Yeah, I mean, I think we need to have another league of some sort. And, Europe, I definitely think could work because there's a lot of excitement over there. I think what we saw this year with the Alliance of American Football and with the XFL, I think those had great opportunities to succeed as well, and unfortunately, some things went against them in different ways. But I think a league here, kind of a minor league or a feeder league like that, if the NFL would get behind it, whether it's in Europe or here in the States, I think could be very, very successful. And I think there's a lot of guys that were like myself that maybe fell through the cracks the first time around and just need a little bit more seasoning, and they need to be in front of people and need to play the game a little bit. and they could be really good NFL players. And so I do believe there's a place for another league somewhere, somehow. I think the development of our game needs it. And now it's just a matter of figuring out exactly how do we do that and how do we do it the right way, and how does it work from a financial model and all of those different things that go into it. But I truly think at the end of the day, the NFL needs to get behind some league like that and be able to use that to help better the talent pool at the NFL level, or at least get guys more ready, because the college game is very different from what guys are asked to do in the NFL, and also to present some opportunities to some guys that are chasing that dream that wouldn't have it otherwise.
Yeah, Kurt, I completely agree with you, and I'm glad you said that. There are definitely some guys that get kind of they fall through the cracks, and it's kind of bizarre how many quarterbacks come right from college as a UDFA, and then they don't even get a chance to really compete for an NFL roster. Another one guy that comes to mind, Jordan Teamu, who played for the St. Louis Battlehawks. He was probably the best quarterback in that league, and he didn't really get much of a shot to really stick to an NFL roster during the preseason. So interesting stuff there, and I definitely agree with you. My next question for you, I don't know if it's something that you ever think about, but the Clevelands could have selected you in the expansion draft. You were one of 5 players the Rams did not decide to hold on to, so I'm sure they regret that, and they definitely were lucky about that. But you were one of 5 players the Rams did not designate to hold on to, so you entered the expansion draft, and Cleveland could have selected you, but they did not. Do you ever, look back on that and what could have been if, the Cleveland Browns select Kurt Warner?
I don't think about it often, but obviously people bring it up here and there. And, I think when you're a competitor and when you've been able to have success, I look back at that situation and say, well, man, if Cleveland would have picked me, then I believe I would have had a chance to kind of change the fortunes of Cleveland. That didn't really matter where I was going to get my opportunity. I felt like I could succeed. And so I know you look at Cleveland big picture wise and everybody goes, oh my gosh, that would have been, like a graveyard to go to Cleveland and we probably never would have heard of you. And as a competitor, I look at it exactly the opposite and go, well, I would have helped to put Cleveland on the map, and I believe we would have done great things there as well. And, so it's one of those things that I look back now and I'm fortunate that I didn't get picked because I loved my time in St. Louis, and what we did there was unique and special. And I think we did some things there that we may never see in the history of the game again. But at the same time, I was just looking for an opportunity. So if that opportunity came by Cleveland selecting me, I would have welcomed that opportunity and believe that I would have been able to have success there. But I'm grateful that it happened the way that it did, and I was able to be a part of the Rams and that organization in the city of St. Louis, because that time was really, really special to me and my family.
Yeah, without a doubt. And, most Rams fans are familiar with what happened in 1999 and that incredible story there. But just kind of from your own experience, without having any previous experience with the Rams first team offense, how were you able to come in and do what you did for a team that had just lost their expected starting quarterback?
Well, I think, again, there's a couple sides to it. Is first and foremost that I was very confident in my skill set and what I could do. Every time I played, even though I had a crazy journey, when I played in the past, I was very, very successful, whether that was 1 year in college or 3 years in arena football or over in Europe. And so, I didn't feel like, oh my gosh, this is over my head and I can't succeed. I knew when I played football and when I had a ball in my hands, I had always been successful. So I had that inner confidence there. I also hit a perfect storm. I had a coach that played the game or called the game very, similarly to what my skill set was or my mindset to the game. I had unbelievable talent surrounding me, the likes of, what we've seen very few times in the NFL. So I was very fortunate from those two standpoints as well. So I really felt like it was a perfect storm in so many ways. Trent Green, who was the guy that went down, had instilled the confidence in all of us when he came in and knowing the offense and what he did in preseason. I mean, I think we all started to believe that we could have success with the talent we had and in the system because of what Trent had done. And he was unbelievable in helping me transition from the backup role to the starter. He was, he went out of his way to help me learn the nuances of the system. So, you put all those things together, and although it seemed like it was kind of out of nowhere to a lot of people, there was just a lot of pieces in place that led itself to us having success and having success early.
Yeah, no, I definitely hear you there. It's it kind of was the perfect storm, but that shouldn't, take anything away from what you were able to do. And, the question earlier with like the Browns, for instance, I think more so would have said more about the Rams, and maybe that, you're not talking about the Rams having a Super Bowl right now, if you're there, and maybe we're talking about the Browns, right now being, that dynasty. But with that being said, I do want to get your thoughts. We did speak to your old head coach, Dick Vermeil. What was your experience like playing for Dick Vermeil and Mike Martz?
I mean, as I was mentioning, with the offensive coach before, and obviously that being Mike Martz, he taught me more about football than any football coach that I've been around. He played the game in such an aggressive fashion that it really played and helped shape me as a quarterback and shape who our offense was and how we believed in ourselves and the confidence level we had because of the confidence that he instilled in us. So, I mean, it was I loved my time, under Coach Martz and learning the game of football from him. It was invaluable to me in my career. And then, take it a step higher and you go to Dick Vermeil and I think you could talk to any player that he's ever coached, but, I know players that he's coached, with the Rams and at this level. He had such a tremendous impact on me as a person, just watching the way that he led and watching the way that he believed in people and cared about people, that he was a guy that you wanted to go to bat for, that you were willing to follow anywhere because of the character of the man. And so, what he taught me about life, what he taught me about relationship, what he taught me about leadership was second to none. And it's amazing. I still talk to Coach all the time, and, my wife and I and different people are always talking about Coach and referencing Coach on different things. And, when I think back to my career, I feel like Dick Vermeil coached me for 10 years. I feel like, the bulk of my career was under Dick Vermeil. And the amazing thing is I even have to second guess myself, because when I go back and think, and really look at it, he only coached me for 2 years. He coached me for 1 year when I was the third string in 1997, 98. And then he coached us in 99 when we won the Super Bowl, and then he retired. And so, to make it feel like I'd been with this guy for 10 years and to feel the impact that he's had on my life, and to realize it was only 2 years that we were together, I think speaks volumes about who he is and the type of impact that he can have and the type of impact anybody can have in a short period of time, when it's done the right way. And so, so grateful for my relationship with Coach Vermeil, and you can look at on the field, he was the one that gave me the shot. He was the one that inserted me as the starter when Trent went down and all those things. But it is so much bigger than that. And it's so much more about the person and the character of the man that shines brighter than anything he's accomplished on the football field or anything he helped me accomplish on the football field. That's who Dick Vermeil is. And I'm grateful that, even though it was only 2 years, that I got to play under Coach Vermeil and have 2 years to build a relationship that continues to this day.
Yeah, very well said. Obviously, two really, really great coaches, and that's not the first time I've heard praise like that about Dick Vermeil. He's definitely a player's coach, if you will. With that being said, I want to get your thoughts on some of your favorite memories while playing on the field and while playing off the field.
Say that again. My favorite memories of what?
When you were when you were on the field and when you
Okay.
were off the field, like your favorite memories.
Well, I mean, on the field, there's so many of them. From great games to moments to, winning a Super Bowl to playing in 3 Super Bowls to, being fortunate to be a part of 2 organizations and, and help 2 organizations kind of change the face of their franchise, but also, find themselves in Super Bowls. I mean, it's overwhelming when you just think about the relationships and the moments and the memories, of a 12-year career. There's just so many great ones, and I mean, from the first season to winning the Super Bowl and those moments to be able to throw the touchdown pass that helps you win the Super Bowl is a dream of every young quarterback and every young kid to make that play in the biggest game. So that's obviously a moment that stands out. With the Arizona Cardinals, just showing up in Tampa, at the Super Bowl with a team that nobody expected to ever be in a Super Bowl, with an organization that nobody ever expected to be playing in a Super Bowl, and to be a part of that and to be able to watch that experience through the eyes of a bunch of people that had never really experienced anything like that never expected it within our organization, and to show them that, that anything's possible, to show them, and instill a belief in them that they can accomplish more than anybody else thinks they can, or even maybe they thought that they could. That was really, really special. And it was a special time for me, especially later in my career when a lot of people had written me off as well. That was really a special time and a lot of special moments that went in with that. I mean, off the field, man, again, there's a million of them, from spending time with, guys that you have relationships with to catching up with those guys, and see what they're doing to have ongoing relationships with your teammates. For me, the platform off the field, that the NFL presents you has always been, something that I've relished, and the opportunity to impact people, to kind of share your life and your journey and to be able to kind of pay it forward. When, not too long ago, you were the one on the other side kind of looking and hoping somebody would step in and help you out. Currently have a movie that's going to start production, on our story that's going to be on the big screen. So things like that, for most of us, when we dream to a certain level. You dream of winning Super Bowls and playing in the NFL. You very seldom dream of other things that could come with it. And for me, when I think about the off the field stuff, it's all of these things, these opportunities that have come that I never even dreamed about, never even thought in my wildest dreams to even think this is a possibility or that's something that, that you can actually dream about. And I've been fortunate to live out a story and a journey and a life that has taken me a lot of places that I never expected to go. And that is probably what I'm most grateful for and most thankful for when we're talking about things off the field.
Yeah, I think just looking back at your story, the word that kind of comes to mind for me about your journey is it was very, in a way magical, not just, obviously winning the Super Bowl for the team and the organization and what that meant for the Rams. But I can say as a St. Louis resident that, the Rams 1999 Super Bowl win is something that is still talked about and revered here today. I mean, I hear people talk about it all the time here still. And I can sense, even though at the time I was 3 years old, people who went through that here in the city really connected to that and really cherished that. I know that my parents had PSLs at the Dome, and I went to every single Greatest Show on Turf game, and it was just really special for the city as well. So, still living here in St. Louis, I can say that, after the Rams left to go back to Los Angeles in 2016, obviously, naturally, many St. Louis residents were really, really hurt. But I can say that they all still love Kurt Warner. I mean, there is still huge Kurt Warner love here. I see your T-shirts and your jerseys on people here all the time. And just kind of speaking on behalf of what the the city collectively went through back in 2016, I think that what mostly hurt is not only that we lost our team, but for whatever reason, there was some kind of narrative pushed forth by some media outlets that St. Louis was a bad sports town or that we didn't support our franchises. So just kind of asking you, what can you say was your personal experience with the city of St. Louis and their sports fans?
Oh, my personal experience was incredible. I can't say it enough. I can't express my gratitude and our family's gratitude to the city of St. Louis, the community of St. Louis, for what they meant to us, the way that they supported us and embraced us. Just incredible. And, what you realize when you have success at the National Football League level is that it's not just a team that comes along. It's a city and it's a community. And, we were fortunate that all that came together for us at the same time. And so, we saw a baseball town transformed into a football town. And we saw an entire community come along with us for the ride when we were there. And within that, they embraced us and my family and what we were trying to do and what we stood for in a unique way. And so I don't think I will ever lose my affinity and my relationship with the city of St. Louis as long as I live. We continue to go back there and try to have impact on the community and connect with the people there when we have opportunity, because it was so special for us. And it was, such a unique and magical time from so many standpoints. And a big part of that was because of the people of St. Louis, the people that live there and what they're all about and what they stood for, just fit perfectly with who we were as a family. And so I've got nothing but love for the city of St. Louis. And, people can say what they want. All I can tell you is that when I was there, it was a great sports town. It was a great football town. And I'm glad that I was able to be a part of that run there in St. Louis, because it was really, really special.
Yeah, and something that was also pretty special for the city of St. Louis was the Legends of the Dome flag football game back in summer 2016 that your Greatest Show and Turf teammate, Isaac Bruce, kind of started and put on at the Dome. And that was something that I actually attended. I actually got to shake your hand while I was there. So that was awesome. I got to talk to Dick Vermeil about it as well when he came on our show about the Legends of the Dome football game. But I guess just what was that experience like, and how awesome was it to be able to reunite with a lot of your former teammates back in St. Louis?
Man, you can't ever do that enough. Unfortunately, life takes us a lot of different directions. And, even through my NFL career, it took me in some different directions. So, naturally, we all move apart, and our life takes us, to different places. But there's nothing like having the opportunity to catch up with the guys and see what's going on now and reconnect. We've got a text chain that with a number of the guys from that time in St. Louis where guys are shooting out texts all the time, wishing people happy birthday, letting people know what's going on in their life. And so that's been great. But it's always great to be able to catch up in person, no matter what that event is. And so, there's a lot of different times when guys are doing different things that you try to make it work, to help support what they're doing, but also to reconnect with those guys, because we really had a special group of guys, so many superstars, but so many unselfish superstars that really represented the city and our team extremely well. And you always look forward to catching up with those guys and seeing what's going on in life at that point.
Yeah, and speaking of your teammates, one former teammate, the one that we really think should be in the Hall of Fame by now, from the Greatest Show and Turf, Torrey Holt, is not yet, but he's been a finalist, multiple years. When do you think he joins you in camp?
It's so hard to say. I mean, the whole, Hall of Fame experience is a unique one, and there's lots of different factors there. And so what you come to realize is that, it's not always about, is somebody worthy of the Hall of Fame on whether they're in or not. There's a timing to it. And, there's limited amount of guys that get in, and, different guys come up every year. And so it really is a juggling act to try to figure out, when and how, and deserving guys, when is their time to get the call? I think the bottom line is to know that Torrey will be in the Hall of Fame. He deserves it from every standpoint, in the way that he represented the game and the way that he played the game. But I think it's really just a waiting game right now to figure it out. I thought Isaac was way overdue, way overdue when you looked at what he accomplished in his career by the time he retired. But all of a sudden you get Randy Mosses and Terrell Owens and those guys that kind of come available or come up for induction, and you got to wrestle with those three guys and who belongs in, and they all belong in, but who goes in first and all of that stuff. And so I think Torrey is just kind of in that waiting mode right now, more so to, okay, when do things free up based on, what the landscape looks like? Because I think as soon as that happens, he's going to be in, the first ballot after that, because he deserves to be in, and it's shown because he has been a finalist, and that speaks volumes to how people see you. It's just, sometimes getting over the hump, or, for a long time it was him and Isaac, and so I think sometimes you look at it and go, well, who goes in first, Isaac or Torrey? And sometimes you just kind of lean to, well, Isaac played first, and Isaac was the elder statesman and kind of brought Torrey along, so he's got to go in first, even though, you could make arguments for each one of their careers. So with all that being said, I think it happens soon. I know it will definitely happen, but it's just so hard to predict when it's going to happen, because there are so many factors that come into play when we're talking about Hall of Fame inductions.
Completely agree, Kurt. It's tough because you start getting into those older, those older players that don't have a chance now because, you have this passing attack era kind of, overshadowing them. And even so, even though the fact that, Torrey Holt played with the Greatest Show on Turf, it wasn't his entire career. And you have guys now, like Michael Thomas, for instance, that are playing in that, Drew Brees, Sean Payton offense, guys that are completely thrashing numbers. And, I think it only makes it more difficult moving forward. So I completely agree with you there. With that being said, I do want to get your current thoughts on the Rams now, because, we talked a lot about, the Greatest Show on Turf. We talked about your story. But what are your thoughts on the current state of the Rams now? They were in the Super Bowl a year and 6 months ago, and now it seems like, they're kind of not far from it, but they're not quite a Super Bowl contender, or at least they have a lot of proving to do.
Well, I think they've got a lot of talent. I love their coaching staff, love what they've been able to accomplish there in a short period of time with a young quarterback and a young head coach. But, every year's different. That's the amazing thing about the NFL, is that it's very hard to sustain greatness from year in to year out, whether that's moving pieces, whether that's just the landscape of the league, the amount of talent in the league. So, you see a lot of teams that kind of go up and down and try to have to figure out each year what their team's going to look like, and, can't always keep those same pieces together year after year after year. And but I like the nucleus of what the Rams have, quarterbacks, some young receivers, obviously Aaron Donald. They got some, really, really good players that I think they're going to continue to build and be a team that's going to be tough to beat on a yearly basis. Now, do things come together, and do they stay healthy, and do things fall in their favor where they can make another run to the Super Bowl? That's really what it comes down to, because it is so hard to get there. And, they got there probably before anybody expected them to, but with getting there, it leads to expectations, right? Once you get there one time, it's like, okay, why weren't you there last year? Why don't you get there every year? Well, it's just not an easy thing to do. And so a lot of things have to fall in your favor. And I think that's really what it's going to come down to with the Rams, is continuing to build and put the right pieces in place as you lose guys like a Todd Gurley. But at the same time, getting some breaks and making some breaks for yourself throughout a season goes a long way in giving you that opportunity to play in the Super Bowl.
Yeah, I think you're spot on there. And something else that I've kind of, been watching for with the Rams is that the NFC West has gotten super competitive in the last few seasons as well. So that certainly doesn't make the Rams' job any easier, but I think you're right. I think that they're building, and they've made some good pickups along the way as well. But this next question is just something that I'm asking kind of out of curiosity. But did you ever once consider coming out of retirement, kind of like Brett Favre did?
Yeah, I actually have. A couple times. I think the blessing of some parts of my career, having not played and taken as many hits as a lot of guys, is I feel extremely good. I mean, I'm 49 years old, and I feel like I could go out and play right now. So there's been some times, a number of years back, the Cardinals were struggling and had a bunch of injuries at the quarterback position. So yeah, there was a time when I picked up a ball and started throwing in the backyard and kind of letting people know that if they wanted to explore that option, even though I'd been out of the game for a few years, that I was open to exploring that option, but never came to pass. But I have definitely considered it a couple times, probably more so just because I feel really, really good. And I watch the position and I feel like, at times, and again, you always think back. I'm 49 now, but I think of myself as the guy that was, 35 and still playing at a high level. There's obviously huge transitions that would go into having to play again. But I think the point is that I feel really, really good after my career and feel, at least in my mind, that if need be, I could compete again.
Well, that's awesome, and that's something I think that Rams fans and just NFL fans would love to see happen at some point as well. So we'll keep an eye out for that. But just in closing here, I kind of want to touch on something that you brought up earlier. It's that your incredible football story is being translated onto the big screen. It was announced that Zachary Levi is going to be the actor that is going to be portraying you. So what are your overall thoughts on that? And are you excited for, kind of the world and maybe people who weren't really familiar with the story to get a chance to see it on the big screen?
Yeah, I mean, we're extremely excited about it. It's been a work in progress for quite a while. But, we've always just taken the approach that if we're going to do this, we want to do it right. And we want to share the true story, the essence of what we're all about, and share some of the story that I think a lot of people don't know. Some of the stuff, behind the scenes that a lot of people will, remember what happened on the football field and the kind of rise from, grocery store to the Super Bowl. But there's also, I think a bunch of great stuff relationally and, and some of the struggles behind the scenes that took place during that period. And so we're excited about sharing the whole story, and a story that we think can speak to not just football fans, that it can speak to all people based on where they're at in life and what their relationships are like, and how the people around them can lift them up and inspire them, just like maybe you can inspire them through your story. So we are extremely excited about it. We're excited about seeing the pieces come together. It's supposed to start shooting in September for December release in 2021. So Lionsgate is extremely excited about it. Our studio is extremely excited about the project, as are we. So can't wait to see how it all comes together. And I look forward to people getting a chance to see it and hopefully be inspired by it.
Yeah, Kurt, I just got to say, when we heard about that, we were absolutely stoked. So there's a lot of football fans in general that are going to be excited. There's a lot of Rams fans, Cardinals fans. I mean, it should be a fun one. We're really looking forward to it. And, you said December 2021. Hopefully it'll be more back to normal by then, and we can actually go to the theater and see it.
Yep, that's what we're hoping for. I know things are, in some degrees, are starting to get back to normal, and there's still some chaos out there. Arizona here is kind of a hotbed right now for cases of the virus. So again, no idea what the next 6 months are going to look like, but fully believe that somehow, some way, we'll navigate through it, and hopefully before too long we'll be back to some sort of normalcy. Even though I don't know if it will ever quite look exactly like it did before.
Absolutely. Hey, Kurt, we could talk to you for hours and hours, but hey, we really appreciate you. You're a busy man. We know that. So we really appreciate you coming on our show. You're welcome anytime. And let's keep in touch, man.
Sounds good. Appreciate you guys. Take care and stay safe.
Yes, thank you so much. You too.